Hello, I'm with R Rogerson and we are in Chiang Mai. John, what brought you to Chiang Mai?
Sawadee Gawd. Came here in 2010 to work with the Devi, which is a luxury property, part of the Oriental chain of that part, looking to integrate Ayurveda with spa therapies, and sort of cut my teeth in India a long time before that in '98 with regards to sort of studying natural medicine. So I've been hopping back and forth from India to Thailand, where sort of there's a lot of spa treatments, and looking to integrate Indian systems of medicine, which is Ayurveda and naturopathy. And the opportunity came here. I recently fell in love in 2010, and it was an opportunity to look at a new horizon, having lived in India for so long, a bit long in the tooth there. And Thailand offered a lovely horizon, actually beautiful part of the world, less sort of hard spirited than the Hindu culture, which has been emergent in India recently. It's a very soft Buddhist nature, and particularly up here in the north, just a wonderful part of the world, really.
Do you actually have a practice here?
Yes, yeah, I have 3 clinics here. I work with the Oriental's Devi property, I work with Four Seasons, I work with Anantara, and I basically take a step back from most complementary medical personnel, get on with a treatment protocol. I look to hair test. I have an imaging system that looks at energy at a near infrared wave band, and look to see where problems are cited. That opens up a dialogue why they might be sort of centered there, and what's behind causality. We're really looking for reasons, not for treatment necessarily. And that might just, let's say, be on a physical body, lack of sleep, nutrition, cleansing, toxification. So I also have a hair testing method. It's a German company. So before I get on with a treatment protocol or a plan, sort of take a step back, let's see what's going on. We can also look at the interrelatedness of emotional function, let's say how we feel about the world. We're very angst and in a bad space, depressed, if you like, in fear, which we go through ebbs and flows with, I think, all of us.
Can you give me a typical problem of someone presenting at your clinic and who your typical client is?
Well, I sort of serve the community. So here in Chiang Mai, we've got a wide bunch of Farang, as we call them, foreigners here. So they're mostly foreigners. The guests in the high-end resorts that I work with are nearly always foreign. They might come from Singapore, Hong Kong, Indonesia to come and visit Chiang Mai. But typically the most common issue is looking to get more vitality, getting more energy. We've got a lot of pain management that I deal with addiction as well, habits if you like, or negative habits if you want to see it as that. But typically those sort of areas, looking at vitality, improving people's energy levels, a lot of digestive problems as well. We're just trying to optimize people in a realistic manner,
Do these people seek you out? Do you have some sort of name in Britain or other countries, or are they recommended to you here as some sort of referral network?
I don't have a website. I've never relied on marketing material, kind of a business card, and it's all word of mouth. So the properties that I work with here, they'll put me as like a master in residence or a practitioner in residence, and they'll advertise in the rooms for people who, it might sit easily with them. But no 2 days are the same. So a wide variety of friends, from the super rich, super famous, royalty, etc., to people like ourselves who are just traveling through, or come from humble origins and just want to have a little bit of understanding about nutrition, because there's a lot of misinformation about health at the moment, and that keeps people guessing, I suppose. But little steps really.
Mm-hmm. Do you still go back to England on occasion? Or?
Love England, yeah, love Britain. I'm English-Irish, so my family's all there, in and around the Cambridge and Suffolk area. And we go back with the family, we go back for a month, 2 months. I love to travel there. It's very refreshing to go back to England, but I couldn't live there. I've sort of been out of the country now for over 20 years, mostly in India, mostly in Asia. But
most people will probably ask themselves, why? Why couldn't you live in England now?
It's a good question. It's the real beauty and sincerity of Asia, the emergence of this, the economy, the way that things are changing. There's an optimistic feel here. The weather, the food, the lifestyle that you can afford is it's really just, it's so much more valuable here. It's a bit old order for me, the UK. It's traditional.
Okay, for the benefit of our viewers,
Yeah.
can you run me through a typical day?
Ooh, a typical day, I get up, do some meditation, go for a walk, do a bit of running, bit of stretching, bit of coconut water, some fruit. We met at the juice bar. I'll often meet clients there who I'm meeting as part of the community, because if I'm in clinic, prices are a little bit, let's say, a lot more expensive than meeting people privately. I don't need to sort of be in clinic. Lunch, typically an Asian lunch. Love Western food, but it doesn't suit my body type so well now. I've sort of got used to healthier cuisine. I'll see probably no more than 3 or 4 clients a day. And that involves probably an hour and a half trying to discern a little bit of reasons behind what might be causing stress to the body, or if people want to optimize their wellness, get even better, if you like, even fitter, even stronger, just looking at ways to improve that. And we use a wide variety of modalities, healing modalities. No 2 days are the same.
I was going to ask you briefly, what would you recommend people eat and drink in part of their regime? I'm sure you're going to tell me nutrition and exercise, which is what all doctors seem to say, but perhaps you can enlighten people further.
Thank you. Food is, typically a wise Indian man's sage said to me, what is bitter makes sweet, and what is sweet makes bitter. If you like sweet things, make us acid. So sweet things are typically sugars, chemicals in foods. Milk is sweet, meat is sweet, and that causes acid to the body. Now, it's not that they are bad. There perhaps is no good and bad. There are highs and lows. So what we're trying to do is to put a little bit of alkalinity back in the body. If you like, British people called limeys, and you might know why they were called limeys.
Captain Cook used to carry limes on the ships to prevent scurvy.
Exactly. So, that's the basis of disease, is this sort of fungus or mold through acidity. So when you have bitter herbs, fruits, vegetables, pulses, if you like, you're alkalizing the body and leaving the environment better to absorb nutrition, better to eliminate any kind of toxicity. So, a big part of my work is common sense, and it's not that common nowadays, particularly amongst, let's say, the medical fraternity, because they don't spend any time in nutrition class. They'll tell you milk is good for the body. Well, you're no longer a baby. You don't need milk. Milk is not drunk by other mammals. So, it's one of those things just to try and rejig people's consciousness. We overeat meat. Most meat is tainted with a lot of, let's say, growth hormone, antibiotics, and it's not particularly healthy. So,
What about fish as well, with the quantities of mercury? Is fish actually bad to eat?
There's fish and fish, horses and courses, if you like. So, a lot of people think, oh, salmon, that's a really great meal, and it's Norwegian, and it's farmed, So salmon's an interesting case in point fish. So seen to be very healthy, and if you can get wild organic salmon caught from Alaskan or Scotland or somewhere beautiful, wow, so high in nutrients and omega oils and essential fatty acids and so forth. So very healthy. But a lot of the Norwegians farmed salmon is given dioxins, given fattening agents, fed literally pig swill, fed, filthy genetically modified soy protein lectins, and doesn't have a regulation of, a lot of fish farms are not actually given any regulation of the food they're fed. Typically what I say is oily fish, small oily fish, so like mackerel, herring, anchovy, salmon itself if it's wild, that's healthy for the body. Typically crustaceans, let's say crab, prawns, I would tend to avoid. And, you know, it's something that Jews and Arabs have in common. Not much that they do, but they won't eat pigs, and they won't eat a lot of shellfish. And that's because they're non-kosher. They eat shit, basically. They you know, they'll clean up the oceans. And now, you know, there's a lot of, let's say, mercury, but there's a lot of toxicity in fish. I hope that's answered your...
Oh, it has.
Yeah.
And lastly, one question. What advice would you give people traveling as digital nomads or world travelers who are looking at coming to Asia, or Chiang Mai in particular?
You know, a wonderful environment, great value for money. You know, to give some idea, I rent 2 properties here. One has 4 bedrooms, one has 2 bedrooms. You know, you're talking $300 for each of those properties a month. You know, electrical costs are pretty good. Water is fresh. There's an abundance of vegetables. So we welcome you, and particularly if you're into, let's say, disruptive technologies, looking at, let's say, blockchain technologies. There's a lot of work in that field. But there's a very, very, you know, a lot of offerings here in Chiang Mai that, you know, make it home for me and home for many people. It's a beautiful part of the world.
Okay, well, thank you very much, John. I don't think we'll go into how you obtain a visa for longer than a month. That's probably a whole episode in itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you. สบายดีไหมครับ